I'm Joyce Scrogum, Emerging Technologies Resource Specialist for ISTC and Co-Coordinator for ISTC's Sustainable Electronics Initiative, or SEI. Thank you all for joining us in person or virtually for today's webinar on the iFixit Technical Writing Program. iFixit is a global community of people helping each other repair things, and its website, iFixit.com, is described as the free repair guide for everything written by everyone. Anyone can sign up for an account on the website and contribute by writing repair guides, improving existing guides, answering questions posed to the community, etc. While many of us on this webinar are interested in electronics, guides on iFixit's site can pertain to virtually any consumer product, from a pickup truck to musical instruments, toys, appliances, or furniture. If it can be fixed, you can share your knowledge of how to fix it or learn from someone else. In this way, the company fosters sustainability by promoting and facilitating repair, reuse, and the extension of the useful life of products. Educators can use this interesting concept for sharing while repairing as the basis for class projects. My colleague Kristen Walker and I used it as a final project option for this past semester in a special topics course for the College of Engineering called Sustainable Technology, Environmental and Social Impacts of Innovations. Today we're joined by Brittany McCrigler, coordinator of iFixit's Technical Writing Project. She'll provide an overview of this program and help you understand how you might incorporate it into your courses or educational endeavors. So, Brittany, I'm going to just make you the presenter, and then you'll be able to share your screen.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here and for having me. My name is Brittany, like she said, and I run all of our education programs here at iFixit. One of our biggest ones is the Technical Writing Project, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, I'll give you a little introduction to sort of us and who we are, so sort of what iFixit is doing. You gave a pretty good introduction there, but basically, who are we? We started actually at the dorms at Cal Poly. That guy up there at the top is Kyle Wiens. He's our CEO, and he actually dropped his computer and broke it. And he, being a student, didn't have money to replace it, so we thought, hey, I'm an engineer, I can fix this. And he took it all apart and was able to solder it a little bit and was trying to put it back together and had a really hard time. He actually did get it back together. It's very dremeled and epoxied and not super rigid anymore, but that was sort of his moment of inspiration. He knew that there had to be a service manual somewhere for it, and he couldn't find it. So he ended up writing one, and if you fast forward to today, we have about 11,000 repair manuals, and about 1.4 million devices have been repaired using our guides, and that's an estimate, but it's been really great. And we have a following of about 30 million visitors a year on our site. So a lot of people are actively fixing stuff, which makes us really excited. So we're really well known for our teardowns. So on September 20th, this guy, Luke, our CXO, actually went out to Australia. Why Australia? They live in the future. So if you magically fly to Australia, you're a day ahead. So he got the very first iPhone 5S, and we tore it down and saw what was inside. This is the final shot of our teardown, sort of all the guts. And we do this, it's fun, it's a good press event, but the main reason that we do this is we evaluate these consumer goods for repairability. So each of these devices gets a score from 1 to 10 on how repairable it is. So if you come out of the Apple store with your phone and drop it on the concrete and shatter the screen, you know as a consumer how easy it is to repair. And this is a really important piece to us and what we do, and that's what we're all about. We're all about repair. So why is repair important? Why does repair matter? And there's a lot of reasons to this. One, it saves you money. That's always a good thing. We believe you don't own it until you've opened it, and that opening things really teaches engineering. But our e-waste is a really big problem. So we all have cell phones, we have laptops. This is how we're doing this webinar. They're great tools and resources to us. Technology can be a wonderful thing for society, but what happens to it when we're done with it? So in 5 years, you know, we don't always have the good idea of what happens. We have these great supply chains. We dig stuff up. We use it, and then we throw it away, and the garbage man comes once a week and picks it up and it's gone, and we never really see that end of life. And there's actually 17 times more gold in a pound of electronics than in a pound of gold ore. So there's actually a lot of very valuable materials in our electronics, and we're sort of throwing that out. So what actually ends up happening is they get shipped to the developing world, often India, Africa, China, just different parts of the developing world where people, including kindergarten-age children, actually just light them on fire. And they light them on fire to melt away all of the plastic and all the other pieces of resin and fiberglass to get at the copper and gold. And they get paid a couple dollars a day for this, which is really good money for them. But the problem is that this is really, really toxic. So we're talking about arsenic, mercury, lead, polybrominated flame retardants, just very, very toxic things. And to put that in perspective, we're burying about 1.3 million pounds of arsenic annually. So if you can magically dig that up and spoon feed it to people, you could kill 7.6 billion people. You can't actually dig it up and spoon feed it to people, but what this is saying is that we're putting all this in the ground, in the air, in the water table in developing countries, and it's very, very devastating. So how do we get people to repair things? So besides e-waste, we have all these other issues, social issues, political issues, mining, manufacturing. There's a lot of issues that go into our cell phones, a lot of energy, a lot of resources, and if you're interested in that, our blog, iFixit.org, actually has lots and lots of articles on all the environmental impacts of our devices. But we're really strong advocates of repair. So we always hear reduce, reuse, recycle, but it should be reduce, reuse, repair, recycle. So repair actually keeps things working longer, which is much, much better than just recycling them. Because when you recycle them, even our best processes only can get about 30 to 40% of the materials back. So it's much better to just keep them working longer. So how do we do that? How do we get people to repair things? Well, we minimize the barriers. So we make all of our guides free. They're open source, Creative Commons license. They're accessible. They're easy to follow. They build confidence. A lot of people view sort of our devices as black boxes. I mean, this laptop might run on pixie dust for all they know. But getting people past that black box mentality and over their fixophobia, as we call it, making them not afraid to open their device is sort of the first step. And our guides really strive to do that. It's really interesting if you talk to someone who's maybe uncomfortable opening their device, and you say, well, it's broken, why don't we open it up and fix it? And they say, oh, I can't fix it, what if I break it? And you say, well, it's already broken, right? And they say, no, 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 but it's broken, I can't do that, what if I break it? And so there's this fear of our technology that we're really trying to help people get over by building confidence and showing them step by step how to repair their stuff. So we really believe that information is the enabling technology, but it takes a huge amount of people and resources to do this. You know, we are really good at repairing some things here, but not others. You know, we don't know about everything. And so we have a community of people who are constantly contributing to the site to help provide repair information for everyone. So that's where this project comes in. Students will write real repair manuals that get used by thousands of people. They will create a full-service manual for a device, including device identification, troubleshooting, step-by-step repair guides, and it'll get put on iFixit, and we've actually seen after about 6 months, the average guide has 3,000 views. So it's a really great project for the classroom in that people actually use this. Students are actually published. They can see people interacting with their content, which is a huge thing. Actually, Kyle came up with this project out of his experience. He had to write a huge paper for his technical communication course that got recycled at the end of the quarter. And that's really, I think, not a message we want to send to our students. We want to send the message to our students that they are citizens and they should be empowered to use their skills that they're learning in the classroom to be citizens of the world and to bring something to the community. So this project is really powerful for that. that being said, it's also a really flexible project. So the project that I'm going to talk about and what we're actually doing is very flexible and is used in a lot of different ways in a lot of different classrooms. So I'll talk about a couple of those as we go through here. But that's kind of where we're coming from. So that's just sort of some background information for you guys. So all of our materials are hosted online. Our website, you can see here, is edu.ifixit.com for the project itself. And this is sort of host to all of the instructions that students might need. This student roadmap here has the project broken down into milestones. So we break the project up for a couple reasons. One, it makes it more manageable for the students, and two, instructors can pick and choose which milestones they want their students to do. So we've created these instructions with videos, you know, instructions step by step, how to do these things that really help students who are in a technical communication class or a sustainability engineering class or several other different types of classes do the project. We really focus on skills, so using tools correctly, writing skills, writing professional emails, everything from taking great photos to grammar to audience analysis to usability testing and device testing and design evaluation of how repairable these electronics are. So there's a lot of facets to this project. And all these milestones are always available for the students as they're working through. They can click on a milestone and see what's going on and watch the video and go through the instructions on these pages. So that's sort of the back end of what the students are interacting with. They also email us and our tech writing staff. So we have a staff of people who are always answering student questions, who are students will email us and we'll look over their work. We'll send them an email back, say, hey, this looks good, maybe change this. And our staff is constantly interacting with students and helping them sort of along the way. And so it ends up being a really great practice for them to be doing an industry partnership without necessarily just being flung into the world. They get more help and guidance from us than they would in a standard industry partnership, but they aren't just doing classroom work, if that makes sense. So we also have a page of featured student guides on iFixit. This page here, and I love this page. This is some of our top performing students, and you can see on this page there's everything from snowboards to video game controllers to laptops to bicycles. Students can choose their own device that they work on. We provide the devices and tools if they need them, but if they want to, they can choose their own device, and when they do, it's just amazing what the students come up with. This guide here is a snowboarding guide, and I can show you this. You can see up at the top here there's a title, it's a feature student guide, there's a summary and introduction. We tell people how long it takes so they feel confident. Okay, I've got 10 minutes, I can do this, this is easy, this is an easy guide to do. So they've got that. They know what tools and parts they need, and then they go through, and these students took these beautiful photos and did these step-by-step guides on how to fix your snowboard binding. And I'm not a snowboarder, I don't know, but these students just did an absolutely beautiful job doing this. And then when we get down to the end of the page, you can see there's a button here that says I did it success, so students can see how many people have successfully completed their guide. And then down at the very bottom, you can see the statistics. And this guide doesn't have a whole lot of views because it was just completed a few weeks ago. So it only has 140 views, but most student guides have thousands of views, and we see that, and it's really, really exciting. So the students are writing all these documents and doing some more, which is really great for us. They do device identification and troubleshooting as well. So they're doing a lot of different things. And you can see here there's quite a variety of guides. We also partner with some NGOs. So one of the guides up here, I believe, this solar cooker. This is a device that is used in the developing world to provide an ability to cook food for I think I don't know if it's Red Cross or another group who's out in the field working. So they donated this device to us, and the students were able to create a guide of how to assemble this so that they can print out the PDFs and use it in the field. And they know how to use it, and they did a full set of guides, and they came out really great. We've done similar things with Free Wheelchair Mission, who provides wheelchairs to the developing world, and several other groups like OLPC, One Laptop Per Child, who provides laptops to the developing world. So we've provided, it's a way of providing repair documentation even in other places that might need documentation. So everything from basically your consumer goods down to sort of more specialty things that are used for specialty purposes, maybe in the developing world, or that are helping people. So students get to work on a lot of variety of things, which is very, very cool. And they really get into it. They pick a device that they care about, and they're just very engaged, and they do such an amazing job. It's really, really wonderful. So these are a few of our sort of featured student guides. Students who have done very, very well in the project, and it's amazing to see what they do and how it goes, and to see their work afterwards. I think for them to be able to see it online and to see people using it and interacting with it is really, really great. This PSP 2000 is a student guide. Also, they did this. This is a handheld video game console, a PlayStation handheld video game console. And if you look at this guide, you get down to the bottom here. This is pretty intricate, a lot of steps, a lot of hard work went into this. And you get down to the bottom and you can see 22,000 people have interacted with this content. So very real-world implication for the students to look and see that 2 people have interacted with this today, 6 this week, 80 this month, and feel validated for the work that they're doing in the classroom. So that's really exciting. Also, if I didn't mention before, feel free to interrupt me with questions if you've got any as we're going through. I know it's kind of a lot of information, but so we're very, very proud of the work that students do, and we're really happy to support them. Like I said, we provide email support, the instructions in the curriculum. We provide instructor resources, everything from activities you can do in class to our annual training that we do with instructors, our technical writing symposium. We fly instructors out from all over the nation and have them hang out with us for a couple days, get to know us, get their hands wet with the program, work on all of that. So that's really exciting. We provide the toolkits and devices, basically anything that someone needs to be successful with the program. We provide to instructors so that they have an opportunity to bring this into a classroom, whether it's technical communication or sustainability and rhetoric or whatever. And we've seen a lot of great projects. So this is a standard project of creating guides, but there's a lot of variation. So we've seen student projects who are just editing, who are just looking at content that's already on the site and editing it and making it better. We've seen students who are just interacting with our forums. So we have a questions and answers forum on iFixit. And students who are just going on and curating questions and looking, either doing research and statistically looking at questions, or helping provide answers to questions, or doing some content organization. We've seen students who are just doing skills guides, so just teaching people basic skills, something like soldering or how to remove connectors. We've seen students do that. We've seen students do all kinds of different sort of projects within the structure that we have, just doing troubleshooting information, or just doing usability testing, or even evaluating our instructions that we provide students. So there's a lot of different angles that this project can be taken at, and it's really exciting to see. I think one of my favorites is I love seeing engineering classrooms who give out the devices and have their students take them apart and sort of evaluate the design. A lot of the issues with electronics are that they're designed to fail. It's called planned obsolescence, and if you can't change the battery in your phone after 300 cycles, it's going to die. and you can't do anything about it. You have to replace the battery. And a lot of phones are made so that the user can't do that very easily. So getting these devices in the hands of future electronics designers and engineers and having them kinesthetically take them apart and understand how they're designed, what they are, what they do, sort of what they mean, and what their design choices imply in the device is really great. I love being in the classroom on those days and seeing just the students get frustrated with it and just say, they just sort of blurt out these things like, why aren't the screws right here? This is so difficult. Who designed this? This is ridiculous. And it's a way of bringing awareness to social issues that engineers might not think about in their field. And even if it's just, you know, the students get nothing out of it more than understanding that they can take something apart and try and fix it, we feel like we've succeeded. Of course, we want them to have great guides and to have other educational deliverables, but in the end, we're really fighting upstream with a consumer culture of this is cheap and easy, let's just buy a new one. So sort of breaking down that paradigm and even having those discussions with your students is very powerful, and we've seen a lot of really neat projects come out of that. Another school that we work with in Southern California actually did a project where students made, in a media journalism class, made like a public service announcement, either video or web page or something about the issues. So they took these issues that we deal with, environmental issues or social issues around cell phones, from our blog, iFixit.org, and they made public service announcements. And that was another they did that was a different thing than just creating guides. So it's a very diverse project. We're very interested in working with people in all walks and paths and classroom types and helping them figure out what's going to work for them, which is a lot of what I spend my time doing, which is really, really great. I get to hang out with these instructors and help them figure out how to make the program effective and work for their classroom. So this is actually the iFixit website. You can see here there's a lot of guides. If you click on our guides page, there's sort of categories for everything. You can click through and figure out whatever you want to repair. One of the projects that I've worked on is the Patagonia clothing came to us, and they have a very strong repair department in their organization, in their business, and they came to us and they gave us a bunch of gear and helped teach us how to repair it. So now we now have guides for jacket repair, for trousers, for luggage. One of the things that commonly breaks is the handle on their luggage, and so they made the handle really easy to replace by having an unzippable compartment where there are 4 red marked screws that you can pull out to pull the handle out. So this is another thing where students didn't do this project, but students who are interested in maybe clothing repair or luggage or furniture or something that's more, maybe is more of a household item than an electronic, that's totally welcome. We welcome guides on anything, blenders, bikes, clothes, anything. So it's a way for students to bring their own interests into the classroom, which I think is really a powerful thing for students. And when they're looking through on the iFixit website here and they see all the different things they can do, we hope that they're inspired to look at all these different things as fixable objects and as objects that can be fixed and done. And so that's the gist of what we're doing with our project. We are working with about almost 40 universities now, 30 some odd universities. We've seen about 5,000 student projects come through in the last 5 years, and it's been absolutely so rewarding. The letters from students saying they put it on their resume and they got a really great job, or they loved the project, or they had fun, or these were their comments. We've just had a really great community of students interacting with each other and interacting with us, and it's been a really, really fun and rewarding project for us, and we're always growing and developing more curriculum and helping instructors out and bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're very, very open to suggestions or working with anyone, and so we hope that you will be inspired to get involved. So with that, if anyone has questions or if there's anything else I can show you guys, just let me know.
So let's see. I don't see any questions online. Brittany, I have a question actually. Have you ever worked with high schools, or are you exclusively working with universities right now?
So that's a really good question. There's a couple different ways we're going on that. We are expanding into high schools. We're not quite 100% there yet with this type of a project. We do have a high school resources page that has some activities you can do with high school students. We have had high school students reach out to us and say, hey, we'd really love to create guides, and we say, that's awesome, and we try and support them. We don't have quite the support network that we have for universities. So that's coming in the next couple of years. The project will be a little bit different than it is for university students, just because the university level work is very detailed and more complex and more time consuming than something that would necessarily work in a high school classroom. So stay tuned for that. But we also have some activities and ways to bring this in the classroom in high school now that can be used as we're developing that.
Do you work with any vocational technology programs?
Yeah, so we have the Skills USA organization, who is an after-school group that teaches all kinds of vocational skills. We have a part of their computer repair module we helped them with for mobile technology repair. We also have worked with a couple of junior colleges that are more vocationally focused. Some of our car guides actually came from students who are in an auto mechanic program who are working on learning how to do various car repairs. They did some guides in that, so that was a really neat project that a vocational classroom did. So yes, not as much as traditional classrooms, but we're very open to that, and we've seen a lot of cool stuff come out of that.
Just to clarify, I wanted to reiterate for folks that you don't have to be involved in the technical writing project in order to contribute repair guides to the iFixit website. Anyone can sign up for an account. So if you belong to a makerspace or other sort of community, maybe you are a hobbyist who likes to work on radio-controlled devices or things like that, and you repair your own equipment, you can sign up for an account on iFixit and create your own guide. And do you want to talk a little bit about the content management system that you guys have for creating guides so that folks understand they don't have to be highly technically skilled in terms of coding in order to put these things up online?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great thing to talk about, actually. So as you were saying, anyone can sign up. You can also make teams on our website. So we see some collaboratives, like the Fixers Collective, create a team, and then their content, they can work on it together, or sort of provide resources to each other, and they gain reputation on the site, which is kind of a cool thing. So if we look at my profile, you can see here that this is a little about me. Then you have a contributions tab where you can see all the things that I've been working on, and you can see my activity. So if you create a team or you have an account, and then you get reputation. So if you contribute to guides, your reputation grows, and you get various points for making a guide and doing these different things. And it's a way that your group can get noticed online and have instructions for others. So maybe if you're repairing a stool at your makerspace or your fixer cafe or your repair cafe, you can have that online so that anyone who comes in the next time, you can just look that up and know how to do that. In terms of making guides, if we look at, let's see, a guide I just made in the last day or two is actually repairing one of my old LP records. So I just made this guide, and it looks like any of those other guides, but I'll show you the edit interface here. so you know what you're dealing with. So if we go into this guide and hit edit up here, you can see that it's just basically fill in the blank. So we just put in what type of a guide, what kind of a thing am I working on. I'm working on an LP record. What am I repairing? In this case, I'm repairing a warp. And so you can put the summary and introduction in, and then at the bottom you just hit save. And you can go in and add details like how long it took or what tools you need. And then you can go in and look at your guide steps. And from here, these images are just uploaded, so you can crop them, add markers to them, or delete them right from here. And you can insert a step just like that, and if I wanted to add more photos, I just click on them and I can upload them and choose any from my media manager to just drop in there. So we try and make it very easy to add images. You can add images, you can add colored bullets for markups or cautions, maybe you're doing something dangerous. And then you can just type text here. So, this, step 1 might be take out the LP. And you can just add those, and it's very easy to build so that you can sort of put up your content relatively quickly and do it in a way that anyone can do it. You don't need to code, you don't need to have any special skills, and then you can just view your guide. I'm going to leave the page because we don't want to save that necessarily. And you've got a guide in a very easy step-by-step way of producing content. So we try and make it very, very easy and encourage people to even do that. Even if you don't want to create your own content, any of these guides, all these steps you can see here have an edit button. So even if you're doing a guide, maybe you're going along and you're doing this guide and you say, that didn't really work for me, or that's not very clear, you can just go in and edit and change it yourself and make it more clear. Or you can comment, this little comment button, and make a comment and say, how did you actually do this? This seems a little funny, or whatever it is, so that we're collectively together making the repair guides better and better every time. Or maybe you find out a little trick or tip, and you can always add that in. So whether it's fixing up the grammar in this guide or adding a step or anything like that, you can definitely be interacting with the site even if you don't necessarily have great repair knowledge, or maybe you want to contribute your own content, or maybe you just want to help out the content that's there. And there's plenty of content that you can contribute to and add to. We actually have a page down at the bottom of our homepage here that, well, I thought it was here. Yeah, down here, the contribute page that tells you all the things that need help. So something, maybe a guide just needs a summary, or maybe these things need guides, or these things have confusing text or the incorrect tools on them. So you can just go in and make a quick change on how to fix the confusing text and just rewrite a few sentences. So it's very easy to interact with the site, so that we encourage people to just, even if you only have 5 minutes, there's something you can do to improve the content.
And it occurs to me, Brittany, that there are opportunities for interaction in ways that you might not typically think about beyond the classroom. For example, if there's a furniture shop on your university campus where folks work to repair furniture for the various facilities on campus. Staff in those departments could use this as a way to document how to go through a certain process, and they might even have student interns working with them who could help develop those guides. If there's a computer repair clinic on campus, there's an opportunity for students to come up with some basic troubleshooting type guides that the campus could put up on its website and promote extension of resources or correction of issues before coming to the main university department saying, this isn't working, what do I do? Maybe they could troubleshoot a little bit ahead of time with guides like that. So I think there are a lot of different applications to be explored with your interface.
Absolutely, and one of the things we saw, the CNC machines at Cal Poly were having some issues, and they actually decided to make a set of guides for those. And that's how they now train their student monitors. So they have an instructor in the lab, but they also have a handful of students in the lab who are helping the other students work on the machines and maybe fixing them or resetting them. And they made a set of guides showing how to do that so that when they get new student monitors every 6 months or whatever it is, they can go through those guides as training on how to do the basic repairs that they're going to need to work in that lab. So that's another thing that if you're, maybe your school's IT department wants to have a set of, maybe you are upgrading RAM all the time in your laptops, and maybe, you pick the issued laptops for the school and have students write guides so you can train people when they come on. And that's a great use of the site and the guide interface.
And if I understand correctly, you were talking about teams. So say you had a student organization, like maybe a chapter of Engineers Without Borders. A group like that could potentially, you mentioned the solar cooker that got donated and then students created a repair guide. A group like Engineers Without Borders or something similar could choose to work on repair guides for devices that might need to be fixed in developing areas that they just think should be out there on the internet. Mobile phones are pretty prevalent even in developing areas. That's how a lot of people can access information and the internet. I can see something like this being a really interesting project for a student organization.
Absolutely, and to bring that up, we have actually water pump guides, because actually in the developing world, water pumps break a lot. They're one of those things that different groups install, but they can't always be there to maintain. So we did these set of guides, and because they're very photo rich, and we've had these guides translated into Swahili and a couple other languages, we're able to, you can see this little PDF button here. You can PDF and print these out and leave them. These were PDF printed out and laminated and left with the communities who have these wells, so that if they ever have an issue with their India Mark II water well, they understand how to fix it. And that can be a really great thing, especially maybe for Engineers Without Borders or some other organizations working with objects or deploying some sort of device or tool or machinery in the field, to be able to leave the community with a guide that they can use so that they can sustainably repair it on their own. And that can be a really great use of this. And we've seen that with several different devices.
Kirsten, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question. Going along the international theme here, most of our students were from other countries, and there weren't too many, but there were a lot of issues with just language and grammar and just things that we are understandable because English is their second language. How do you go about? First of all, do you work with a lot of international students? And what do you do about those issues as far as encouraging, the repair of the grammar?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, so there's a couple ways. One, we are working on translating the site. So we're working with a couple different language students in terms of translating guides and the site framework. And so that's a project that we're piloting and in progress with. For students who are maybe ESL or English as a second language students who are doing the project, we think that's great, and we are very understanding of that situation. And we have a flag system, so we will mark their guides will be flagged. Sometimes at the end, if the grammar is a problem, we'll flag it with a flag that says help improve this guide's grammar. And usually our community members will go in and help improve the grammar. And then the students are interacting not only with us, helping them learn some grammar stuff, but the community members are helping clean up their guides and editing their guides after the project is over. And it's a great way, because even if their grammar isn't perfect, they start a guide and it starts a conversation, and a community is created around preparing this thing, whatever it is. And even if the grammar is not perfect, it's a step in the right direction. No document is ever going to be perfect. We're always iterating and improving, even our own guides, even our professionally made guides. So we encourage the students with that. We tell them, hey, you know, this flag might be on there, but these guides are going to get worked on and improved, and they're going to be great. And you started the process, you started the conversation, and you made a really great, valuable contribution to the project. So it is a process product project. But we don't want to put too much emphasis on a perfect product, because it's about the experience, and the grammar is something that our community will come in and clean up. And it's much more valuable for them to have the experience of opening a device and taking photos and writing that guide and learning, and then being able to see the grammar that was improved later is a wonderful, I think, a very valuable experience in a very non-judgmental way. In a very open, we're all learning, we all have things that we struggle with, and it's okay as a community to solve problems. And that's what iFixit is. We're a community that's solving problems together. So I think that's very, very valuable and a wonderful part of the project, if you can view it that way.
Great, thanks, Brittany.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with public libraries in order to make information like this available for, say, equipment that they lend out? I know our public library has things like e-readers that they can lend out and kilowatt meters and that sort of thing.
We haven't. That's really actually an interesting idea. We do a lot of analysis in terms of devices. So we work with a couple e-waste recyclers to get our devices donated for students who don't have a device they can work on. And we do a lot of analysis with them on sort of what are the most common devices that are out there. We don't always get the most common or the latest or greatest, but we try and really look at what's in use. And so that would be another good area to look at what's in use in the communities there. Because we really want to be making sure that the things that we are using every day have guides.
Let's see, any other questions? I don't see any questions from online. I guess another thing that's worth mentioning is you've mentioned that there are resources on the student milestone area on the EDU site. There's also a technical writing handbook that is really well done, and so it can be used, I think, in technical writing courses and business writing courses, and it's a good guide to help sometimes scientists, engineers, and folks who do a lot of hands-on stuff and research. They're not necessarily the best communicators sometimes, and I think that's a good resource for that community as well to help them convey their ideas in a more accessible way.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up. This is our tech writing handbook. It's free online. It's free to download as a PDF. So students have access to it. Anyone can have access to it. It's a really fun, concise book. It's about 100 pages, all said and done. We did some fun sort of graphics for it and ideas on just sort of your basic, basic how to write in a technically clear and concise way. And it's definitely a really fun thing for students. We tried to keep it pretty lighthearted, and it's been, in terms of times when I've been in the classroom, I've had a really good experience, or I guess good experience and good feedback from students in terms of sort of just a really good, straightforward guide that they can use for writing. And we definitely encourage anyone, even if you're just in industry going about your merry way, to take a look at it and maybe learn a couple tips about communicating and technical communication. It's a pretty fun little handbook to use. It's got robots and zombies in it. It's pretty lighthearted.
You mentioned there are roughly 40 universities you're working with right now. Are any of them outside the U.S.?
That is a great question. So we are working with about 30 to 40 universities in the U.S. We are launching with universities in the U.K. and Denmark in the fall. So we have a couple signed up who are gearing up to get started, and we're really excited to expand that. And we actually, iFixit has a huge global following, so I'm really excited because a lot of the universities in the UK are super excited to work with us, and I think it's going to be great. And we're going to just continue to grow as best as we can, and I think it'll be really exciting. And I think it'll also, bringing back to the ESL issue, I think it'll be really great as we're translating the site into more languages and having lots of interactions from lots of countries, and just being able to have that global interaction for the students, I think is just so valuable.
Any other questions? Oh yes, there's a question about, you mentioned you have a technical writing symposium. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the Technical Writing Symposium is probably two of my favorite days of the whole year. This last year we just had it in May. It switches between May and June, and we send out announcements. So anyone needs an announcement, just feel free to let me know. We have a symposium where we fly instructors from all over. So people apply, they say, hey, I'd love to come out, and it's a very easy application process. We fly them out here. They come to iFixit headquarters in San Luis Obispo. We have lots of great food by our company chef. We do workshops all day. We hang out. We do breakout sessions. It's a conference, but it's a very workshop-based conference. We have sort of veteran instructors who are giving ideas to new instructors and developing curricula and hanging out, and then we have new instructors who get the experience of actually like hands-on making a guide for the first time. And we go over all the instructional resources, and we have round tables, and we have a big barbecue at the end, and we just really do a lot of almost like focus group stuff, what kind of resources do you need, and kind of a lot of great networking and communication, and just, it's a really great time, especially for new instructors, I think, who are maybe intimidated to start the project or are not sure. They can come out and try it out and see how it goes. They get to be the student for a little while, and they get to meet a lot of great instructors who are actively sort of doing the program and learn the tricks of the trade, if you will, and we get a lot of great ideas out of it, a lot of really cool educational resources and ideas on classroom implementation and different ways to use the program, and it's a lot of fun. So it's been great.
Is there anything else?
Um,
We don't have any more questions. Are there any other points you'd like to make?
Not really. I mean, I would just really encourage people to check out the site and get involved. We usually post on our blog, iFixit.org, if we're going to conferences, and we go to maker fairs and all kinds of fun things like that. So if you look on the blog and you see we're going to be in the area, come say hi. And of course, anyone is more than welcome to email me if they have any questions or if I can provide any information for them. We always love hearing from people, so let us know how we can help.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Brittany. This was really interesting.
Well, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us this afternoon. So, thanks very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.